Hallo und willkommen zur 60. Folge von Suzerain. Letzte Folge hatten wir ein Gespräch mit Petr. Unsere Economy ist gewachsen und unser Budget ist down gegangen. Aber egal. Und heute haben wir den Day at the Palace. Also, Office of the... Wir haben einfach nur einen Tag im Palast. It was early in the morning after my talk with Petr. The sun was just beginning to peek over the horizon. I couldn't sleep, so I decided I might as well head to the palace early and get some uninterrupted work done. The maroon palace was empty, save for a few cleaning staff. I entered my office and was shocked to see Lucian already there, waiting for me. Mr. President! Good, I was hoping you'd be early. Lucian, I know you're punctual, but this is ridiculous. I have a sensitive matter to discuss. I have very good reason to believe your vice president and your secretary are engaging in illicit relations. Digga, Lucian ist so krank, ne? I know, we're handling it. Lucian gave me a wounded look. You knew? And you didn't come to me with this information? He told me yesterday I was going to come to you first thing today. Well, don't hesitate to call straight away next time. On its own, given Mr. Wacton's established reputation as something of a playboy, the affair is unlikely to cause much damage. However, a more troubling possibility has been brought to light. A recent conversation with Mr. Hailstone, our whistleblower from Rumburg, revealed the presence of a spy within the Maroon Palace. I believe Miss Suno is our mole. She has been using her relationship with Mr. Wacton to gather information. Tell me more. I can do better than that. I'll show you. Lucian reached into his coat pocket, pulled out an audio tape and fed it into the reel-to-reel machine on my desk. This was recorded in the palace at 1809, on the second day of your trade visit to Lesbia. He pressed play. I heard Petr and Livia's voices. You're sure everyone's gone for the day? Relax, Liv. Nobody's working that hard with President stick up his ass off in Lesbia. Livia giggled. I heard the sound of kissing, then of drinks being poured. I'm glad you stayed behind. Did he tell you how it's going over there? Do you think there's a chance they'll form an alliance? As a matter of fact, yes. He and Prime Minister Alvarez just sealed the deal. But enough work talk, Miss Suno. I want you bent over my desk now. Lucian grimaced and switched the tape off. And then what happened? This is indeed cause for concern. I'm glad you agree. And that's not all. I found her resume on file, and there's a year-long gap between her finishing secretarial school and beginning her career. Normally, this would have been looked into, but Miss Suno was hired before a background check could be completed by one Petr Wacton. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Livia opened it cautiously. Good morning, Mr. President. Mr. Glade, I didn't realize you'd be in so early. Can I get you some coffee? Close the door. Have a seat. Livia said. She looked puzzled. Is something the matter? Enough pretending. Your secret is out. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Come on, Livia. Petr already told me everything. Livia buried her face in her hands. I'm so sorry, Mr. President. I was foolish, and Petr was so nice to me. But it's over now. Nobody ever needs to know. That's not what the President means, Miss Suno. We're referring to you being an intelligence agent from Rumburg. Livia said it right. She looked shocked. Pardon me, Mr. Glade? But are you feeling alright? Don't play dumb, Livia, if that is your real name. Mr. President, I understand if you don't want me to keep you my job, but why smear me with outlandish accusations? Miss Sunu, indulge me for a moment. What were you doing in the year of 1951? Livia's face flushed. If you must know, I was working as a cigarette girl at Porthos. It's a Le Shaven saloon. I was saving up so I could afford my own place in Holsworth. Here's the proprietor's number, if you need to double-check. She scribbled a telephone number on a piece of paper. Lucian snatched it up. But why have you been asking me so many questions about what I do? To tell you the truth, Mr. Rainey, I was hoping to run for office myself someday. I want to make a real difference in the world, like Miss Morgner or Miss Walder. But I guess I messed that up by getting involved with Peter. Now they are all going to say I slept my way to the top. And you're questioning Peter about Sutherland's potential alliance? I told you Wait, how do you know about that? There was a loud pounding on the door. Peter barged in without waiting for an answer. He was unshaved and wore the same clothes as the night before. I came as soon as I heard the three of you were in here. Anton, what the hell are you doing? I told you I had this under control. Sorry, Lucian already found out. Peter took a seat on the far end of the sofa. He looked over at Livia and noticed her troubled expression. God, why involve her? This is my mess. She did nothing wrong. She's a spy, Peter. You messed up big time. What? I have reason to believe she's been relaying information to Rumburg. Information that you leaked to her in your carelessness. Lucian rewound this tape and played again, as Peter listened, his eyes wide in disbelief. Lucian, you rat bastard! You've been bugging my office? Lucian, is this true? How could... Was ist das? Warum soll ich zwei machen? Obviously for good reason. Both Peter and Livia were glaring at Lucian now. He looked unrepentant. I had noticed that the Vice President's behavior becoming increasingly erratic and unprofessional over the past month. I wanted to get to the root of the cause. So you wiretaped your own goddamn colleague? And for what? Have you been getting off on this, you pervert? Certainly not. I believe that along with the Rumburg whistleblower's admission that there's a spy in the palace and certain gaps in Miss Sunu's resume, this tape makes a compelling case to investigate the secretary for espionage. Whether or not the investigation yields positive results, Mr. Wacton ought to be held accountable for his willingness to divulge such sensitive information. He ought to stand trial, or at the very least, resign. Peter's jaw dropped. Livia stood up. If I may, Mr. President, I've been paying attention to what goes on in the palace, not because I'm some sort of agent, but out of genuine interest. Hard as that may be for you to believe, Mr. Galate. She scolded Lucian, then turned back to me. And from what I've seen, this man has been attempting to undermine your Vice President at every turn, perhaps with the goal of replacing Peter himself. And that's ridiculous! I would never make Lucian Vice President. Das ist auch schon wieder so. Yo, Lucian, verkackt's halt einfach. Nonsense! Lucian's been nothing but loyal. Loyal to you. It's true he never could stand me. Lucian frowned. My personal misgivings about Mr. Wacton aside, I would never do anything to harm the administration. Mr. Wacton, on the other hand, has at best committed adultery, at worst Delivered state secrets straight to enemy hands. Who could I believe? Lucian, can I speak to you alone for a moment? Peter and Livia exchanged worried glances before exiting my office. What are you going to do, Mr. President? I believe you. We should investigate Livia. Lucian breathed out a sigh of relief. I appreciate your trust in me. And Mr. Recton, what will you do about his willingness to compromise Southland security at the drop of a pencil skirt? I'll decide that once we have the results. Very well. Just keep in mind you may need him to shoulder the blame for this. Lucian adjusted his tie. I apologize to Miss Sunu and tell her this has all been a misunderstanding. We can't have her running away during the investigation. Thank you. Very well, sir. Lucian gave a slight bow as he left the office. I sat by myself for a while, wondering what exactly had set into motion. Oh, Livia. Okay, ich würde sagen, das war's mit der Folge. Lasst uns ein Like und ein Abo, wenn es euch gefallen hat. Schaut beim nächsten Video vorbei. Morgen 14 Uhr geht's weiter. Haut rein und ciao.